feel go. Too scared to just let it go. Too scared to just let it go. Tomorrow we build. Depends on the future we want, we can make it as real. Maybe we will, though. Give up the ego. Making it feel go. Too scared to just let it go. Too scared to just let it go.
Caught up in your gravity, always end up lost in your wake. Intoxicated, maybe we can start it again. Caught up in your gravity, always end up lost in your wake. Intoxicated, maybe we can start it again.
Hello, Frontier Doubles League. It is me, Rhino Boy 11, once again coming at you with another FDL Central. It's what we do here in the FDL on a Wednesday. As you can see, we have two incredible guests below me. So without further ado, let's begin the introductions. First up, this is his second season with us. He is playing for the Owls this season. It is Toucan. What's going on, my guy?
Not much, dude. I'm happy to be here. I've seen so many episodes of the FDL Central, so I've really been itching to be on the podcast.
Oh, well, that's very kind. We appreciate watchers all the time. I hope you're going to enjoy yourself this evening. And just below him, although he's not on video, he will be here with us in voice. It is the Coyotes player, Comus. It's good to see you. How are you?
I am doing great. It's good to see you too, Rhino Boy.
Oh, thank you very much, my friend. Right, let's get going with the action then. And to start with, we're going to try and bring this in a little bit more and talk to our players a little bit about why, how they started picking up Rocket League, why they play competitively, how they got into the scene, that kind of thing. We did it a little bit with the boys last week, so let's try it this week. Toucan, if you want to start us off, with when did you start playing Rocket League? Was it Acrobatic Rocket Power Battle Cars, or was it when Rocket League first came out, and then how did that move to competitive play?
Believe it or not, I have actually only been playing since Free to Play came out. I really never picked up Rocket League. Like there were times that I played it on my friend's PS4 when I was over at their house, but really I was like a big Call of Duty guy. Fortnite when that was in its prime, so eventually that got boring, and then I got into Rocket League when I came to college, and it's been a really fun experience to get better, and I definitely have. It only took me a year to get GC, and I'm hoping to keep getting better.
Only a year. And then playing competitively, once you started finding your feet in Rocket League, was it just a natural progression for you?
Oh yeah, it's just kind of the way things panned out. I was competitive in Fortnite too. I actually was very close to qualifying for World Cup when that was a big thing.
Oh wow!
So I've always been like a really competitive gamer. So it's just natural for me.
That's cool. Well, obviously we have loved having you in the league, and let's switch over to Comus. This is your first season in the league. Also, please correct me if my pronunciation of names is wrong. But what about you? When did you first pick up Rocket League? When did you start playing? And then how did that turn into competitive play?
I first started playing back in 2016, but I didn't take it serious for 2 years. Then 2 years after that, I started playing competitively, and it was just an uphill from there.
And you've been playing with another league before joining the FDL, right?
Yeah, I've been in 2 leagues, but I only played one of them seriously.
Okay, the other was a bit clowny, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that is good. Sounds like we've got some experienced heads on the panel. So let's go with your individual seasons. We'll start with Toucan again. Owl's expert team. Obviously, you had a brilliant run in the playoffs last season. You and Senpai in the Coyotes, which obviously is Comus's team this season. Are you looking to recreate that this season? Are you looking to go one step further?
Yeah, no, I definitely think we can. I think we're definitely one of the top rosters. We're very rounded, so I think we're gonna have a great run, and maybe we're gonna get a ring. But see how it goes.
Absolutely, and obviously your teammates. I think it's Folly and Maleficent, right? Or is
Yep, that would be it.
And how are you finding working with those guys? Are you gelling well?
Oh yeah, it's actually really fun to play with Street, who he always memes with his name in Discord, but it's Street. And then Mal, I've been playing with Mal for a while, so it's really good to have teammates that you just vibe with and can just chill out and play Rocket League with.
Nice. And obviously, this is the second season you've been here with us, but you've got a fair few tags in your Discord. We've got caster, we've got streamer, we've got team lead. Do you see yourself being a bigger part of FDL in the coming seasons? Do you enjoy it that much here?
Being a team lead, I'm already pretty involved in the league, so we're going to see how things go. And if something opens up, I definitely wouldn't be opposed to taking a role. But for now, I think I'm already pretty involved, so I'm just going to keep my involvement and keep this league amazing.
It certainly seems that way, and this league is amazing. Moving over to Comus, obviously joining the Coyotes this season. You're new to this league in season 4, obviously not new to professional Rocket League. But let's have a quick talk about that first game that you were involved in. It was a 5-game thriller. I cannot remember who it was against, but I believe you managed to get the. Was it you got the win, or did you just lose it 3-2? I can't quite remember. Do you remember?
We lost 3-2, sadly.
Lost 3-2. Oh my god. Well, how was that as an introduction for you to the league? Were the comms good? Was everything to do with the league good?
Going throughout the game is really fun. Towards the end, yeah, it was kind of sad for me, but besides that, it was really fun, very competitive.
But then you came back to beat the Colts in the second week, which is a big result, right? First win in the FDL. How did that feel?
Felt amazing, although wasn't streamed. Did feel amazing.
Yeah, we can't stream everything. Unfortunately, there are way too many things to get involved with. But no, that's brilliant. And how far do you think you can take the Coyotes this season?
I'm hoping to take them to a playoff run toward a championship.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, absolutely. That's a good goal, and you're well on your way to doing that. So, a little bit of background on Toucan and Comus. We are jumping in now to the recap of the games from last week. We start as we do every single week with Origin League. I'm going to run down this week. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to run down the results, and then we're going to kind of discuss anything that has caught our eye, anything that maybe is worth discussing. So first up was the Monkeys. They got 3-0'd by the Huskies. The Colts won 3-0 over the Coyotes. The Dragons took a 3-0 game over the Griffins, which we are definitely going to talk about. And the Seagulls taking a 3-2 win over the Unicorns. Toucan, are there any players in there that you know of? Any surprises in there? Anything you'd like to call out?
Yeah, no, there are definitely a few surprises. Number one, Griffins getting swept. I know a lot of people had the assumption that the Griffins were this top tier team in Origin, so it's really weird to see them get swept by the Dragons, and also the Coyotes. They got swept by the Colts. You know, Grandpa, Azriel, Uper, all really great players. So that was another really surprising match for me.
Yeah, I want to briefly talk about the Dragons Griffins game. I don't want to spend too long on it, but I was one of the casters along with KJ, who I don't know if he's here or not. But yeah, it was certainly an interesting one with some very big accusations being thrown about. Have either of you heard about any of this that happened in this game?
Not at all.
No.
I did get a quick summary of it.
Okay.
I was actually, one of the ones that helped troubleshoot it, but from what I understood, the Dragons came out and played a great game, and that didn't really sit super well with some of the Griffins players. So that definitely, I think, did have a factor in why it ended in a sweep. They definitely, tilt after 2 games that can definitely get to a player. So I think definitely they could have played a better game, and they should have played a better game. But the Dragons, good job to capitalize on that.
I think Dragons played a great game, absolutely, and yeah, just an interesting one to keep an eye out for this week. Kamikaze Mook, after everything, has actually been moved to reserve for the Dragons, and they've brought in Button, who is new to the league as well. So we'll have to see how that develops over the next few weeks. You also bring up, the Coyotes getting swept by the Colts. That's a pretty big result. Comus, are you aware of any of these players?
From the Coyotes or like all of Origin?
We'll go all of Origin. I'll open the floor.
The only player that stands out to me is Senpai. That's the only name I recognize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is pretty well known. Yeah, had a very interesting game last week, and we will leave it at that for now. But yeah, okay. Everything else, relatively what we would expect. Toucan. Everything else, kind of the Huskies sweeping the Monkeys, the Seagulls winning a very close game over the Unicorns.
Not being an ex-Origin player, I actually do recognize a lot of these players. Obviously, there are a lot of new names to the league, but I recognize a lot of them. One that I actually do recognize quite well is Devil Jacob. Last season there was a 1v1 tournament in Origin, and I ended up winning the whole thing, not to flex or anything, but he did give me a really good rundown, even though he was a much lower salary than me. He actually took a game on me, so he's a great player. So I'm glad to see that he's doing well right now.
Good stuff. Well, Origin pretty much wrapped up. We've given you all the results. We move swiftly on over to Adept. Once again, going to run down the scores and then we will have a quick discussion. The Vipers take a 3-2 win over the Coyotes. The Gators managed to get it done in a 3-0 fashion over the Rams. The Huskies beating the Monkeys 3-2. The Owls sweeping the Penguins 3-0. The Griffins being able to beat out the Eagles 3-0. Very interesting game there that I'm sure we'll talk about. And there was a forfeit in this league, unfortunately. The Seagulls going over the Unicorns. Comus, anyone here you recognize anything you want to talk about here?
I would like to talk about the Vipers Coyotes game with
Mhm.
Unsung Hero.
It looks like it was a great game.
I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I'm just shocked about how far that went.
I mean, we got to talk about obviously Rico and Sticks playing in the FDL last season as the Vipers come back this season to do the same thing. And just seen Rico in the chat saying the Coyotes had us in the first half. Not gonna lie, certainly seems that way. Toucan certainly seems that way.
All right. Just a few names that I recognize here. Obviously, on the Gators, Crusher, old teammate of mine. He didn't play this week, but they definitely have a really good roster. I know Kin, very good player. Vipers, Rico and Six, ex-Origin champions. They are definitely a roster to be feared. Eagles, KJ, Southpaw, and Debbie, all really great players, along with the Griffins, who actually did end up sweeping them.
We can kind of talk about that a little bit, right? Because the Griffins brought in their reserve, Dusty, who is a 12-4, and swept a lot of people's favorite team in Adept, right? The KJ Southpaw, Lil Debbie team of the Eagles. Really interesting result there. I definitely saw that going a different way. On paper, would you have seen that going a different way?
Just from mere experience of playing with, Debbie, KJ, and Southpaw, yeah, I would have seen it being a little closer. And I think that definitely did close a lot of the questions of, who's the most dominant team in Adept. So
Yeah,
it was a good match.
absolutely. And yeah, all sounds good to me. Adept in 2 minutes. That's your rundown, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to move on to the big talking point this week on FDL Central, considering we have two of the players in the league. We are moving on to Expert. We are going to go through each and every one of these games, boys, okay? We're going to go through and see what is what. The first game of Expert this week that I have written down was the Colts losing out in a very, very tight affair to the Huskies. Comus, have you got the chance to maybe scrim any of these teams, play with them, see them play?
I've seen how the Huskies plays. It's not really a shock to me that they got the win because they're a very tough team to beat. I know from experience.
Absolutely. Reaper, Mythicality, and Skeletons. I don't actually know who played this week. I don't think the replay is up. But Toucan, talk to me about this game. What were you expecting? Did it go the way you expected?
I definitely would expect the Huskies to win. After last week, they had a really tough loss. And this week, they definitely did bounce back as I expected them to against the Colts. Again, not really sure who played, but I know that Skelly is a great player, and along with Reaper, he's also a very good player. Haven't seen too much from Myth, but I'm sure they played a very good series.
Very, very cool. And I'll go back to Comus because it says a lot about the Colts, right? We've talked about the fact that the Huskies were pretty favorited to win this game, but the Colts holding their own against this great team that we're seeing in Expert, that says a lot about their season, doesn't it?
It does. They definitely stand a fighting chance in this league. I think they definitely have a playoff run within them, but it's just they have to start getting it together as a team instead of making the little mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, we can move on to the next game, and it was another very close one. It was your own team, Comus,
Yes,
taking on
sir.
the Rams. They managed to get it done 3-2 without you. Did you get the chance to watch the game?
I did. I did. I was, I was, I wouldn't say young, but I was nitpicking them in our little group chat that we had.
Mm. And what were the comms like? What was it like in your group chat? Was it excited? Was it nervous? What were we talking about?
I was excited. I was congratulating them.
Mhm.
Yeti, he's doing Yeti things with me. I can't really I can't really go into that. But
Okay. We'll move on from that. But saying that, the Rams put up a great fight, Combs, didn't they? And credit to them because the Coyotes are looking good this year. So really cool for the Rams to put up such a great fight against you guys.
it really was.
Okay, NVA and Mark on the Rams team. Toucan, is this what you're expecting again, or are we talking about something that maybe you didn't expect? The Coyotes getting the win here.
I watched this game, and it was at the point where I was super invested in it, and the Rams were up with only about 15 seconds left in the game, and I typed it out in the Twitch chat, and I felt bad, but I said, "Mark on this sold," because he had every opportunity to win that game, and really unfortunate touch, and Coyotes capitalized on one in overtime, so it definitely could have gone the other way.
Very, very, very close game. And that's what we want to see in the FDL, right? We want to see close games. We want to see things go right down to the wire. We're going to switch gears now, quickly discuss our wonderful streamers team, but probably not in the most favorable of lights as the Gators took a 3-1 beating at the hands of the Monkeys. Toucan, do you know these players? What are we talking about here?
I honestly don't know him super well. I know Burrito from last season definitely has made a big turnaround on the Gators season, but the Monkeys just such a great team, so it doesn't really surprise me that this was the outcome.
Yeah, Rizm and Frank coming in and getting the job done. Comus, did you see this game? Did you have any thoughts about the gameplay?
I haven't got a chance to see the game, but I did
Mhm.
play with Frank Carnival together
Sure.
with a Yeti, and not really shocking me that they got the win over the Gators.
Mhm. Great player is Frank, absolutely. 14-1, which surprised me a little bit. But Robot once again leaving it to his boys Burrito and Mr. Hayes, unfortunately not being able to get the job done this week. But there is always next week in the FDL. That's what we like to say. So we move on to the Hornets and the Vipers, the final game of the Terra Conference, and it was another very, very close game with Merc for Hire and Aspect of the Vipers taking out Zinc and Panda from the Hornets in a 3-2 fashion. Comus, any thoughts on this particular game? Any players you recognize here?
I don't really recognize any players, but it looks like it was a very close game. Yeah, have any of you guys seen it? Because I didn't watch this one.
Toucan?
I didn't get to actually watch the game, but something to note. I think after this game right here, after this whole week, I think Vipers actually progressed to the number one ranked team overall. So they are a very good team, and unfortunately for the Hornets, they've been having a lot of issues with internet or chemistry or whatever. So they actually have not actually managed to find a win yet this season. So a
Yeah.
lot closer than I probably should have been.
So yeah, these are the only two teams in Terra with a 0 on their record, right? Vipers 3-0, Hornets 0-3. Do you see the Hornets turning this one around? I mean, they pushed an unbeaten team to 5 games. That's got to say something about them, hasn't it, Comus?
It does. It does. They definitely have what it takes to beat the number one teams out there. They definitely can pull it off if they ever play them again.
Absolutely worth looking into. We switch gears over to the flight conference, and we are going to talk about Hawkish's beloved Dragons. Although Hawkish doing hawkish things did not play this week. I'm sorry. I will stop making that joke one week, Hawkish. I promise. For now, I will continue. And it was Minik and Jalapeno getting swept by the Hydras, Kaysen and Amazon. Very, very interesting game, this one. I'm not sure I expected it. Did either of you two?
Yeah, I definitely did. Hydra is definitely one of the most powerful teams in the whole conference. So, on the other side of the table, the Dragons aren't doing very well. So I definitely did foresee a sweep coming.
And Comus, do you know these players? Have you got the chance to scrim or play with any of these guys?
The only player I recognize is Hawkish,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say shocker to me that they got 3-0. I thought they were going to be one of the top teams in the conference.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, I've got to support my boy Kyrgios coming over from Britain. Got to support Britain. Having a great season. Support you, my man. We will get you on the show soon. I promise. So Minik and Jalapeno getting beaten there by Kaysen and Amazon. We move swiftly to the Griffins, also getting a sweep. We need to get the sweeps out for this one, as NFC Atlas and Hoodie took down Cody and KC. Comus, anyone you recognize here?
I think I've heard of Atlas. Never got a
Mhm.
chance to talk to or play with the guy, but I've definitely heard his name.
Sure. And Toucan, I think in this particular game, we've got to talk about Cody and KC, right? They were the Unicorns last season. They did get into the playoffs. They seem to be almost having a false start this season. Can you think of maybe why that is?
Well, I think that they are a very good roster, and I think that they didn't even necessarily play a bad game. It's just Atlas and KP or Hoodie are both so similar in their mindsets and their gameplay. So it doesn't surprise me that they swept. They're such a good team, and I could see them taking A lineups, basically on every single team, just because they play so well together.
And I mean, you've got Brother to throw into that as well, who we know is a top tier player in the FDL. So scary Griffins, do you think?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, the Penguins and the Eagles, as far as I could tell, haven't had a forfeit and also haven't played yet. So that's the only information I have. If there are any expert Penguins or expert Eagles in the chat, please let me know and let me know either the game went or it didn't. But as for now, we get on to the final game of the Expert League, which was the Seagulls, Sparks, and then taking out the Owls, Maleficent, and their reserve in Light. The Seagulls won 3-2 in this one. Toucan, talk to me about these players. Is there anyone here that you recognize? Well, obviously, there must be. This is your team. I'm sorry. This
Yeah.
is your Owls. They got beaten at the final post. Talk to me about the game. What happened?
I actually didn't have an opportunity to watch this, but this was a week where Street and I said, you know what, let's just sit back and let our reserve Light play. So we threw Light in with Maleficent, and obviously it was a close series, but Ven and Sparks ended up taking the win. Reformed Sparks. It was a good series.
Yeah, Sparks obviously gone from SPARX to SPARKS. I laughed a lot at that when I saw the name change. Comus. Obviously this is Toucan's team, so try and be polite, but
I'll
we're
be on my
talking,
best behavior.
we're talking about the Seagulls, right? And they put in a hell of a performance.
Yeah, the Seagulls definitely put on a performance, but you gotta give credit to the Owls as well. They put up a fight. I played with Light. I think I might have played with Maleficent before, but Light, I know he's a very mechanical player, and I have no doubt he'll definitely put W's with the Owls.
Absolutely, pretty high ranking as well. Toucan, you playing this week?
Not sure I can disclose that, but
Okay, he doesn't want to share anything.
we'll get
Tried
into
it.
that later. We'll get into that later.
Okay, we'll get into that later. I like that. Chris saying that he is in the chat. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. We will have the discussion. We move on. Actually, before we move on, I want to quickly ask Toucan first. Who is your biggest team that you're worried about in the Expert League this season? When you're on the spot a bit, Comus, you can be thinking. Who's the big team that you're looking at and going, oh, I'm not sure. Not
There
sure
are
on that.
teams that I think are going to be close. I think Hydra's, that's definitely going to be a close one. You got to respect, teams that deserve it. Griffins, that's going to be a good one. And, if we end up matching the Vipers, I think that's also going to be a good one.
Interesting stuff. Comus, anyone here that you're particularly concerned about?
Yeah, I would have to go with the Huskies and the Monkeys. I played the Huskies in week 1 with Yeti. I want to run it back again, change that outcome. And the Monkeys were playing them this week, and I'm expecting a W from my boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Chris in the chat is very happy that you said Monkeys as well. So tip of the hat to Chris. Now let's move on to the Star League. The Star League games we had. As far as I was aware, the Gators and the Vipers haven't played yet and haven't had a forfeit just yet. I will be periodically checking what's going on with that. But for now, no sign. As for the other games, the Rams won 3-1 over the Colts. The Dragons took a 3-1 win over the Hydras, and the Owls took a 3-1 win over the Penguins. It's 3-1 fever here in the Star League. Comus, is there anyone here you recognize?
Honestly, not not really.
No?
J Dubs maybe, but not anyone else.
Well, speaking of J-Dubs, he has come in with the clutch, and it was the Gators who won out 3-1 in the Vipers. It really is 3-1 fever in this league. Toucan, talk to me. Who in here rings any bells?
There are a few teams in here that are very good. The Rams, they played the Vipers last week, and they completely dominated, and they're continuing their streak with a win this week over the Colts, so we're going to look for them to keep doing well. Dragons, big bounce back this week. New roster, but Iberia and Pro, they took a win over the Hydras, who I thought were one of definitely the top star rosters, so that was a big one. And also the Owls, they won over the Penguins. Love Suter, and I wasn't sure how that one was going to go, but I'm glad my boys came out on top.
Absolutely, they take the dub 3-1, and I do want to quickly touch on the Dragons because these boys were expert winners last season. They've been upgraded. They've been basically been promoted up to Star League. They had a bit of a false start, but they're looking to get back on track now. As they beat out the Hydras, who are looking like quite a scary team, aren't they? Yeah, I'll target that one at Comus. The Hydras are looking pretty scary, aren't they?
They are.
Mm.
I haven't got a chance to watch any of the Star games, but just looking at the score, they are definitely a scary team.
Absolutely, and obviously shouts to J-Dubs who's in the chat, I know as well. Big win for the Rams over the Colts, who are also looking like a pretty scary team. Chris and Feed are not easy to beat, so big win for the Rams as well. And we move on to our final league in the FDL in our recap. We're going to talk about Elite League. And I'm quickly going to run through these scores. The Rams took out the Hornets 3-1. The Colts beat out the Vipers in a sweep 3-0. The Huskies continue their streak of dominance against the Monkeys 3-0. As far as I know, the Penguins and the Unicorns do not have a score, and they do not have a forfeit. Speaking of forfeits, the Eagles won against the Owls with a forfeit win, and the Hydras took down the Dragons in 3-0 fashion. We are getting the sweeps out in Elite League, it seems. Toucan, talk to me about any players who you think you recognize in here.
I recognize a lot of names here, and Elite League is definitely one of the most competitive leagues, but it is also one of the leagues where there's the most skill disparity. Since there isn't a sal cap, we have 1,900 2K players facing teams of 1,700. So I know that happened this week with the Vipers, Twan being a 1,700 and Kent being an 1,800 versus Milio, who's basically a 2,000 MMR player, and Soares, who's a 1,900. So it's definitely going to be a lot closer this season. I know the Eagles dominated last season with Skies and CBK, but the Hydras even gave them a loss. So I think this season is going to be a lot closer and a lot more competitive.
Absolutely, we can talk a lot about that in just a moment. Comus, anyone here specifically that you recognize? Because this league is wide open this season.
I recognize the name Prosperity and Chris with a K.
Sure.
Again, haven't had a chance to play with them, but I know they're really good players within their league.
Absolutely. Chris, very happy that you got a name mentioned there. I think for me, the big thing here is the Huskies continuing their absolute dominance. They haven't dropped a series this season yet. Lottie Lettuce and Tater absolutely running through the Elite League as it stands. The Eagles had a bit of a hiccup last week. They did unfortunately get a loss, but they come back this week with a big forfeit victory over the Owls. And I also want to talk quickly about the fact that the Dragons are going to make some changes to this elite team. We hear it's going to be a 20 salary guy, which I think Hawkish is doing as we speak in the Discord. Yeah, so that's definitely going to be interesting to see. Because I've got you both here, and I fancy going for it. Elite League. Name one team who you think is going to get through to the final of Elite League, the final of the playoffs, the championship game. Toucan. Who do you think?
I think the Colts make it. The Colts are such a good team. I don't think they've dropped a game yet, and I think they dominate.
Can confirm the Colts have not dropped a game yet. Comus?
I'm gonna
Anyone you
put
look
my
at here?
money on the Rams. They seem
The
like
Rams.
they have the good chemistry to work together and get the wins. I definitely see them in a championship.
A bold shout with the Rams, one of the lowest ranked teams technically in the league. But hey, that's how you win money, right? You bet on the underdog.
I bet went low.
Yeah, exactly. So we shift slightly from our reactions, and we are going to move on to some predictions. We are going to predict every single game that's going to come up this weekend. And we are going to get through it in the next half an hour. I promise you that. If you have anything to say, obviously, let's have a go. Oh, I should also mention that I'm just going to take the Huskies because neither of you did, and I think it's going to be stupid if they don't make it to the championship game.
They are a good team.
I'm gonna throw that out there right now. Lottie Levis and Tater are cracked. It is what it is. We move on to the predictions. We go back to the Origin League and we talk first about the Monkeys, who are currently 1 and 2, taking on the Unicorns, who are currently 0 and 3. Comus, can the Unicorns get their first win of the season?
Against the Monkeys, I'm gonna say no. I have Monkeys over the Unicorns with this one.
Who can? What do you think?
I think they definitely do get a win this week. I think the Unicorns are too good to not have a win, so I think they'll find one this week against the Monkeys.
Yeah, you talk about Achilles and Yahtzee and Henny as well. I think they might have too much for the Monkeys actually this week. They pushed the Seagulls close last week. Ethereal's in the chat, so maybe he knows more than us. But I think the Unicorns might be able to do it over the Monkeys. So that's 2 for the Monkeys, 1 for... So I said the Unicorns, and 2 for the Unicorns, 1 for the Monkeys on the panel. Very interesting game here with the Colts taking on the Seagulls. They both have a 2 wins, 1 loss record. So who goes evens after this week, and who really makes a statement? Let's go, Comus.
I have the Seagulls taking the win over this one. I think they definitely have what it takes to get the W here.
Seagulls taking that one. Ethereal will be pleased to hear that. Toucan, who do you think here?
As I mentioned earlier, I really respect the Colts, and I think they have some really great players. But Cobb K and Ethereal on the Seagulls, I love that combination. So I'm going to look for them to win this week.
Yeah. I think the Colts A lineup might be able to get the job done over the Seagulls. I really do. I'm sorry, I know Ethereal's in the chat, but I think I'm going to take the Colts for this one. I think the Colts get the 3-1. So that's going to be interesting to see which team is able to get that one, get that done. We move on to the Huskies Dragons. I think I have mistyped, but I do not think the Huskies have won a game this season. No, sorry, they won this week. They 3-0'd the Monkeys. So the Huskies are 1 and 2. The Dragons are 2 and 1. Toucan, who is going to take this one? Do you think?
There is no shot that the Dragons do not win this after their week last week. They have so much momentum after taking out the number 1 seed in Origin, so they should just keep going. And I see them sweeping this week.
Ooh, okay. Comus, do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. I don't think it'll be a sweep. I'm gonna go with a series score of 3-1, but I definitely have Dragons on this.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Dragons as well. That team is looking really good. Bringing in Button as well, I think, is going to just elevate them above the Huskies. Unfortunately, I think they go 3-1. Finally, in Origin, a very, very interesting prospect here. The Coyotes 2-1 versus the Griffins 2-1. Very, very interesting. This game, who's taking it?
We're going to talk about who I think is taking it or who do I want to take it.
I'm talking about who you think is going to go 3-1 after this week.
You know what? Just because I want them to win it, I'm going to see the Coyotes. I think the Coyotes definitely win this. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
be close. I think it might even be a game 5, but I think they do take this.
Okay. And Comus, what do you think?
Coyotes. I have Coyotes in 3. No doubt in my mind they take this.
Coyotes in 3.
Ooh.
My goodness. My thought here is that the Griffins are a little bit shaken after what's happened this past week, and that's nothing against them. It's just I just think maybe their mental isn't quite where it needs to be able to get past this Coyotes team, which are looking pretty good. So I think the Coyotes are going to take it as well. Seems to be a general consensus in our wonderful chat this evening. Origin has been predicted, so that only means that we have to move on to the Adept League, which will start with a very good-looking 2-1 Huskies taking on a not so good-looking 0-3 Rams. Comus, I think I know which way this is going to go, but what do you think about this one?
You want my answer, or do you you want who I think is gonna win?
I want who you think is going to win.
I'm gonna go with the Huskies then. I definitely think they're gonna go 3-1 after this.
3-1 for the Huskies, still winless for the Rams. He thinks Toucan. Do you think the Rams can get it done?
Nah, I honestly don't know too much about any of these teams, but I do know that the Vipers C lineup won against the Rams A lineup in 5. So I think this is going to be another tough week for the Rams. The Rams.
Yeah, I don't think I see the Huskies losing this one. Milliball and Romeo, we didn't really talk about them earlier today, but they're looking pretty good, and they only just got past the Monkeys this week, but I think that'll be enough to see them through against the Rams. I think they take this one and they go 3-1 on the season. Next up, someone has got to go level, and someone is going to be struggling as far as the playoff picture goes in the Monkeys versus the Coyotes. They are both 1-2 right now. This game could go either way. Toucan, do you see it going a particular way?
I think the Coyotes win this. I know Monkeys are going through roster changes right now. I think
Mm.
Ahi was actually released, so I think the Coyotes take advantage of this, and I think they bounce back to a neutral 2-2 record.
Yeah, Comus, what do you think?
You know, I don't want to sound biased here, but I definitely have Coyotes over the Monkeys here.
Okay, I think it's very interesting because both of these teams lost 3-2 this week, right? So their their kind of momentum is still kind of there. They're still taking games against big teams. So I'm gonna go with the Monkeys. I think. I think maybe the roster changes are going to work in their favor, and they're going to bring in a player that is going to just about give them the edge over this Coyotes team. But I don't see that being a sweep. I definitely think we're going at least 4 games, maybe 5 in that one. We move on to another very, very tasty fixture in the Vipers, who are currently 2-1, taking on the 3-0 Gators, one of 2 teams that are unbeaten in this season. Comus, do they continue that run?
I don't think so. I think the Vipers are gonna give them the first loss. Vipers going 3-1.
Rico and Sticks getting a vote of confidence from Comus, and I understand why. Toucan, what are you thinking?
I think Vipers win this. I think they haven't used their A lineup yet, which is actually their strength. So I think they do use their A lineup this week, and I think they win. It's going to be close, but I think they win.
Yeah, I think they actually did use their A lineup this week, right? Rico and Sticks
Oh,
won against the Coyotes.
I think they do it again then.
Yeah, I I think this one's going to be close. Um, Kin and Thor are great together. Crusher is also a great player on the Gators. I think that's really tough. But Rico and Sticks have the chemistry. They have a whole season playing together and making it to a playoff. Oh, I'm gonna go Gators. I'm gonna go Gators.
That's
I think it's gonna
respectable.
be close. I think it's gonna be really, really tight. I couldn't tell you which way this one's gonna go, but if I had to guess, my money's on the Gators. So the Gators to continue their unbeaten run for me. We move on to the flight conference. We're talking about the Owls, who are currently 1-2, taking on the Eagles, currently 2-1. Toucan, Is this going the way that the scorelines would suggest?
See, this is tough because either I have to vote against my franchise here, or I have to vote for the friends that I honestly think will win it. The Eagles definitely should win it. I want them to win it, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Owls pulled something out of their hat and showed up this week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm going to pick the Eagles.
Comus, what do you think?
You know what, Toucan? I got you, my guy. I'm gonna go Owls on this one. They're gonna come up with 2-2. Definitely think it.
They absolutely could. I mean, watching Driver and Lewis play this week against the Penguins, they looked really, really good. They had a great game. They won it 3-0. And the Eagles are coming off the back of a 3-0 loss. So how much does momentum factor into this game? I don't think it factors enough. I think that's my thing. I think I want to go with KJ, Southpaw, and Lil Debbie. I think those guys are great, and I think they pull out a win here against the Owls. But it would not surprise me if this goes 4 or 5 games. I don't see this one being a complete blowout. Gonna be an interesting one for sure. We move on to another unbeaten team in this league. It is the Griffins taking on the struggling 1 and 2 Unicorns. Toucan. Do the Griffins continue this unbeaten?
Yeah, these kids are all sandbaggers. They're gonna have a great season. I don't see them losing this week.
Okay, good stuff. Pretty easy, Comus.
I do agree with him. Griffin's going 4-0 this week.
Yeah, I mean the Unicorns actually had a forfeit this week, and they dropped a player. I do not see this going any other way than the Griffins. 3-0. If I'm going to be brutally honest, but anything can happen in this league. I've learned through weeks of predictions that there are a lot of times where I just get shut up because it doesn't mean anything. So interesting stuff. And finally, the Penguins currently 0 and 3. Scoosroo, Jade, and Loop taking on the Seagulls, which are currently 2 and 1. Rough season for the Penguins. Comus, do you think it continues?
No, I think they're gonna start spicing it up. I think the Penguins are definitely gonna pull it off against the Seagulls.
Interesting shout. This man loves to go for an underdog, and I respect that. Toucan.
The Penguins are going to have a really uphill battle this entire season. I don't see them winning this week. I don't know if they win the season. They just have a really tough lineup to work with. So I think the Seagulls win this.
My goodness, don't win this season. That is a bold call, but unfortunately, it is looking kind of likely. I want it known that I love Scooter. I think he's a great player.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has he has great mechanics. I just don't think they're in the mental. I think they lose the mental game every week, and I think Seagulls. It is Seagulls. I think they're gonna I think they're gonna continue their relatively impressive season, go 3 and 1. I think the Penguins continue to search for a win. Unfortunate, but I think that's going to be how it is. So we have predicted Adepts League fully. We move on to our biggest league and the league that you two are both a part of. It is the Expert League. Some very interesting predictions, I hope, coming in for this one. And we start with a very, very spicy game with the Vipers, who are currently unbeaten, as far as I know. Oh no, there's one other team that's unbeaten. So they're one of 2 teams that are completely unbeaten in this league, taking on the Huskies, who are 2 and 1. They've shown a lot in this season. Who can? Which way is this one going?
I think Huskies win this one. This might sound like a little bit bold, but I don't think that the Vipers have a lineup right now that deserves to be unbeaten. I think their best player definitely was Bubble Bass, and he got dropped. So I think they're going to struggle a little bit, and I think the Huskies take this week.
Oh, Comus, do you agree?
I do agree with them. If the Huskies use their A lineup, I definitely see them taking the win over the Vipers.
See, I know Merc for hire is my thing, and I know that man is going to want to continue this unbeaten run as long as he can, and I think he keeps it going. They both won 3. They both beat their teams 3 and 2 this week, so no one's really got the advantage going into it. But I don't know. I just get a feeling that the Vipers are going to be able to do this one. I think it's going to be a tight game, but I think the Vipers are going to take this one over the Huskies. Close game though, I think. As we move on to the Monkeys and the Coyotes. Both teams are 1-2 this season. Comus, I get the feeling I know where this is going, but who do you
I
see
think
taking
you
this one?
do.
Who do you see taking this one?
I'm about to go with my team, the Coyotes. Definitely gonna go to distance though. It's definitely gonna be a close game, but I have Coyotes taking this.
Are you playing?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that, but
Okay.
I'm gonna
Okay.
leave it there.
We leave it there. Very, very interesting. Toucan, do you see our panel mate getting the win this week?
See, I hate to vote against Comus, but I think the Monkeys are definitely one of the most consistent teams in Expert League. So I think that if the Coyotes want to win this, they definitely have to change up their playstyle a little bit because they are this aggressive team that just doesn't relent. In the Monkeys, they have a perfect playstyle to counter that. So if the Coyotes want to find any success, I think they definitely need to change some things up.
I have to apologize. Robot is exactly right. The Monkeys and Coyotes are both 2-1, not 1-2. But they are both playing this week in both Adept and Expert. So that's why I was confused. I apologize. Thank you very much, Robot, for keeping me honest. Like this. I don't like this in the least. I'm gonna go with Comus, I think. And that's not just because I'm a good host. I think the
Oh, you're a
Coyotes
great host.
I think the Coyotes just about have enough. But I think again, Rizum and Frank versus Comus and Yeti, I think could be game of the week in Expert. I think both teams look really strong. I think it's going to be really, really tight to decide who wins that. It's going to be a game of fine margins. So if those are the teams that are playing, I think this could be a very, very, very interesting game. So Coyotes for me, only just. We move on to the Hornets, who are currently winless in the league, 0-3, taking on the Rams, who are not doing much better. They are 1-2 in the league this season so far. Toucan, Hornets or Rams? Where is your money?
I got my money on the Rams. The Hornets just have a lot of fundamental issues, and the Rams don't. So I think they win this.
Fundamental issues, he says. Comus, do you agree?
I do agree with him. Rams, I just think they're better with the chemistry and have better mentality. I definitely think they definitely get this.
Very, very interesting. Rams, obviously, Mark and NVA, maybe Generic Bronze coming in this week as well. I haven't had the pleasure of seeing these two teams really either play, but knowing some of the players in there, I on paper I don't see the Hornets having as bad a team as maybe some people believe, and I think they are due a win, and I think it comes this week. I think they take down the Rams. I think they get their first win on the board. I really do. Could be an interesting one. That one could go either way. I think it's one of those where it could easily be a sweep. Could easily be 3-0. But I'm hoping for a good game in that one. Let's go Hornets. Maybe. Moving on to the Gators taking on the Colts. I apologize. I only have the Colts down as 1-1. I don't know what result they had this week, but the Gators are 1-2. Toucan, Gators, Colts. Where's this one going?
I got to put my faith in Robot. Last season he did step up and win a star match, and he could definitely hold his own here at Expert. So I think he can win this week against a Colts team that isn't really super strong. So this is a good bounce back week for the Gators.
I have to say that Colts are 1-2. I just checked it. So they are both 1-2 teams. Who gets to even win-loss record? Comus for you.
I think the opposite. I think the Colts are gonna bounce back and take the Gators on this one. The Colts going 2-2.
Could go either way. This one, couldn't it? I hate to go against my streamer. I really do, but I think also the Colts do it. I know Harmonic. I know he's going to want to win this game. They only lost 3-2 this week. They pushed the Huskies really, really close, and we know the Huskies are a great team this season. So I think the Colts might just have enough for the Gators, and I think they are the ones who go even. And yeah, I get the feeling that I'm never going to get another week of FDL Central again. So it's been a pleasure. See you never. Sorry, Robot, my bad. Moving on to Flight Conference, we have to talk about this game. The Owls, 2-1. Your Owls, Toucan, taking on the 1-2 Unicorns. Do you see this being a potential dangerous game for your boys, or do you think it'll be a nice, easy dub?
I can't really say either one. What I can say is that when you play in a league like this, you play against a lot of people that you know, and that makes you gain a lot of respect for them. So regardless of how this goes, which I see going in favor of the Owls, I think it's going to be a close series.
Close series, but won by the Owls. Comus, what do you think?
I definitely think the Owls are going to take over the Unicorns. It's definitely going to go to distance. It's going to be a game to watch.
I think it absolutely will be, and I've got to believe that at some point in this season, Cody and KC find what they found last season. At some point this season, they've got to unlock that. They've got to figure out what it was that they were doing so well last season, and that got them to playoffs and turn this season around. Do I think that's going to be this week? I don't. I think the Owls are too strong right now. I think your guys have the chemistry. They might have taken a slight loss this week, but I think they bounce back next week and they get the dub just about. I do agree with Combs. I think it's going to be a close game, but the Owls in this one for me. Moving on to the Eagles, who I believe are 2-1. Let me just confirm that. No, actually, I don't know what's happening with the Eagles. As far as I know, they are 1-1. I don't know what they did this week in the expert. I think it did get mentioned in the chat earlier, but I missed it. Taking on the winless Dragons expert team. Toucan, do you think that changes now?
That entirely depends on if Hawkish decides to play and if Hawkish decides to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Eagles actually did win this week with Bell. So if we see a C lineup for the Eagles, it's definitely going to be a lot easier for the Dragons, but Hawkish needs to play if the Dragons want to win.
Yeah, Eagles are 2-1. Sorry, just had it confirmed. Comus, what do you think?
I do love myself an underdog story. I think the Dragons will pull this one off.
It's true. Is there a particular lineup from the Dragons you'd like to see? Like Toucan said, Hawkish wants to play. Do you think it is a requirement for the Dragons to win this week?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a requirement. Like Toucan says, if Hawkish plays, I definitely think they can take this.
We have it in chat. We have it written down, confirmed. Hawkish is playing this week. Oh my goodness, he comes off the bench. Very, very interesting. I think he gets the win here. I'm going against my better judgment. I'm going to be honest with this one. I'm going a bit out on a limb because the Eagles have looked great, and we talk about T-Nori and we talk about Bell, and they are great Rocket League players. We know that. Beating the Penguins this week as well is a big win for them. But if the Dragons are online and they're and they're playing like we know they can, I think they might be able to pull out their first win of the season this season. Which will be interesting. I think that will be a better game to watch than maybe the current win-loss records suggest. I think that should be a really interesting one to watch. Oh, of course, Patty, my fault. Patty is also on the Eagles. I love talking about Ballantinori, but Patty does hold that team down as well. So close game with that one. This next game might also be a close game as the Seagulls, who are 1-2 on the season, take on the Hydras, who are 2-1. Toucan. Where is this one going?
The Hydras are too good to lose this one. The Seagulls definitely got a good win last week, but I don't see them winning against the Hydras.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I need for that one.
Comus. What do you think?
Hear me out right now. Hear me out.
Right.
Yeah, Seagulls winning this one. Definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right, you've said hear me out, so I need more than that.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, I just think they take the win on this one.
Okay.
I'm just trying to persuade you to pick them.
Now, I am an unbiased caster. There is no thing in front of my name. However, I am not unbiased when it comes to people of the British Isles. Curiax is on the Hydras, and he takes this one. Big 3-0 win against the Seagulls. God save the Queen. Come on, let's go. Yeah, if you're not confident, then what are you in life, really? Hydras 3-0 for me. I think as much as you tried to convince me, Comus, I don't think you did quite a good enough job. I think the Hydras are going to take this one. And finally, the unbeaten Griffins 3-0 on the season, taking on the 1 and 2 Penguins. Comus, who are you picking, and why is it the Griffins?
You know, you kind of said it like I was going to pick the Griffins, and you're right. I am going to go with the Griffins on that one. I don't know. I haven't really checked out any of their games, but they seem like they have good chemistry, good mechanics, and I think they're going to pull it off.
Absolutely, I think so. Toucan, do you disagree?
No, I love everyone on the Griffins, and they're all really talented, and I think they definitely win. They're just too good to lose against the Penguins. Not that the Penguins are bad, but they're just not as good as the Griffins.
I like the looks of the Penguins on paper. That's what I'm going to say. And if they start firing, I think they can really do something in season. But for me, the Griffins have looked too good so far. I think they're going to continue their streak of domination, and they're going to go 4-0 on the season. And that puts the Penguins in a bit of a tough spot. But yeah, I just I just think the Griffins are going to take it. So maybe not even in a close game. I'm going to say that right now. I think it could be a 3-0. I really think so. Expert done. I'm aware of time, so we'll speed this up just a little bit, but that is okay. We're going to move on to Star League as the 1 and 2 Penguins take on, as far as I know, the winless Gators in Star. Comus. Penguins Gators. Who takes this one?
We go with the Penguins on this one.
Okay.
No reason, just going with the Penguins.
No reason, just taking one. I enjoy that. Toucan.
I don't know either one of these teams very well, but I think the Gators win this one. I've seen
Yeah.
Llama a lot in the whole clip dump, and I know he's definitely a good player. So I look for them to win this week.
I also apologize. The Gators are not winless. They did get a win in week 3. My fault. The information is not fully updated. But we are slowly getting there. For me, I think the Gators continue to win. I think they've got the taste now for it, and I think they have enough in their ranks to beat out the Penguins this week, who are looking a little sorry for themselves after their loss this week, I reckon. Moving on, unbeaten Rams taking on the 1 and 2 Dragons. Does this go any other way than a Rams win, Toucan?
No, it doesn't. J-Dubs is absolutely nasty at the game, and you can respect the Dragons, but I don't think they have the star experience to compete with J-Dubs.
Okay. Comus, what do you think?
I fully agree with Toucan. J-Dubs is just too good. The Rams are going 4-0.
Yeah, I love Wyverian Pro. I got to watch a lot of their games last season, and I think they have brilliant chemistry, and I think they're very good Rocket League players. I don't see them getting past J Dubs and Water and Raspberries if he plays. I think the Rams are going to continue their unbeaten run. I think they go 4-0 on the season, and that's really tough for the Dragons because, as I say, I really like that team. I just don't think they can get it done this week. Vipers currently winless, taking on the Hydras, who are 2-1. Comus, can the Vipers turn this season around?
I don't think though. Hydras are just too good with their chemistry and mechanics. Hydras taking a win.
Hydras taking a win. Toucan, any change of opinion there?
Nah, here I completely agree with Comus, and it's not even because the Hydras are good. The Vipers don't even have a complete roster right now. They're still only 2 out of 3 players. They're still looking for a third, so I think they're going to continue to struggle a little bit until they find that perfect fit.
Yeah, I have to agree. I love Covius. I think he's a great player. I think he can do great things, but at the minute the Vipers are in a little bit of turmoil, and I don't see it improving for them anytime soon. So for me, I think it's the Hydras as well. I think they go for a 3-1 record. Probably the most interesting game in Star this week is the Colts taking on your Owls, Toucans. They're both 2-1. Do your Owls go 3-1 on the season?
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. I think Michael and Feed are both really great players, but I can respect my own roster, and I know that Laggy, he was completely slept on, and then Magic and Cruisin', it's just such a solid roster. So I think the Owls definitely win. Not even bias right there. That's just like straight roster.
Very, very nice. Comus?
I agree with Toucan. There's just a stacked roster on the Owls. I'm gonna go with the Owls.
Interesting. I I am gonna go. I'm actually gonna go against the Owls. I think I'm gonna go for the Rams. I think. Sorry, it is the Rams game we're talking about, isn't it? No,
Nope.
sorry, the Colts. It's the Colts. My fault. I missed that. Yeah, Michael, Feed, and Chris. I still think I'm gonna go against the Owls if I'm honest. Um, Michael is a really good player, as we've said. He's had a breakout season last season. Absolutely incredible from him. And although they lost this week, they lost to a very, very good Rams team. And I think they are able to bring it back and take down the Owls this weekend. Next up, we are talking. Actually, that's it for the Star League. All predicted. Final league to go. We just have to talk about Elite. And we are going to start with 2 very, very interesting games. The first one we're going to talk about is the Vipers versus the Rams. They are both 1 and 2. Toucan. Where does this one go, do you think?
I think the Vipers win this one. I know Cryptic and Twan have been practicing a lot, so I think they're going to bounce back this week, and they're going to have a good series.
Mm-hmm. Covius, who goes even this week, do you think?
I think the Rams are gonna go even this week. I just think they're gonna
Prosperity.
bounce back from. Did they take the loss last week?
No,
I
they
thought.
won this week against the Hornets, actually.
Yeah, well, they're gonna continue that momentum against the Vipers.
As you may have already heard in this predictions part, I am a very big believer in momentum as well, and I think the Rams have it. I think the Vipers getting swept this week is going to do one or two things. I think they're either going to fight back and bounce back this week, or I think this could be the start of a bit of a losing streak for them. I'd be very interested to see which way it goes, but I think the Rams are going to be able to continue their momentum and take it forward into this coming week. The next game. Oh, it's the pick of the bunch, ladies and gentlemen. This is probably the biggest game of the week. It's the Huskies and the Colts, with the caveat of someone's O has to go. Unbeaten teams here in Elite League. Huskies, Colts, Toucan. Who do you think takes it?
Hear me out. I think this is definitely going to be the match of the week. 2 of the 3-0 teams, and only one obviously comes out unbeaten. I think that's the Colts. I mentioned earlier that I thought the Colts would make it to the finals, and I think it is possible for the Colts and Huskies to make finals, depending on how the bracket lands up. But I think the Colts definitely have a better team.
Oh, definitely have a better team. Big shouts from Toucan. Comus, do you agree?
Oh, I'm gonna take the Huskies on this one. Just to split the desk here, but I'm gonna go Huskies going 4-0.
I have to say, you would not be splitting the desk because I was going to go for the Huskies all day long. Lottie Lettuce and Tater are cracked. I am telling all of you, this is the team to watch this season. I think they go 4-0, and I think they hand the Colts their first loss of the season. Unfortunately, Million Swords, great players. Don't get me wrong; they are phenomenal. Or I just think Lottie Lettuce is just on another level. I think he's just crazy. So for me, it's the Huskies, but stay locked to that game because if that one is streamed, you are going to want to watch it. Moving on to the winless Hornets taking on the 1-2 Monkeys. I know we've got Chris in the chat. Toucan. Does Chris go even on the season with Drews, or do the Hornets manage to pick up their first win of the season?
I think the Monkeys win this. I don't think they deserve to have like a losing record. I think their team is very good. And the Hornets, they're rebuilding their team. So I think they're still good, but the Monkeys, they definitely should win this week.
Thomas, what are you thinking?
I'm at the side with the Monkeys. They're just too good to have a losing record.
Yeah, they had a tough week this week against the Huskies, being taken down 3-0, but I hear that each game was very, very close. So I think they have it too much for the Hornets, and I think they take this one as well in relatively convincing fashion, I would say. Chris and Drew's continuing their wonderful partnership from the last season. Chris says they were not close. That's my bad. The Huskies absolutely dominated the Monkeys this week, but they can reset. They can go again. I have faith in it. We move on to the Hydras, who are currently unbeaten, taking on the Penguins, which I have down as 1-1, but I believe maybe the Penguins and the Unicorns result may come through in the Twitch chat momentarily. For now, Penguins are 1-1 in this. But does it even matter, Comus? Are you going against the undefeated team?
No, I'm aside with the Hydras. They're going to keep up with the momentum, and they're going to go with the 4-0.
Hydra's looking great. Anti and Azza playing very, very well this season. Toucan, what do you think?
I mean, the Hydras took out the unbeaten Eagles from last season, who only dropped like a handful of games, not even series, just games. So I think they do continue on their winning streak and they beat the Penguins.
Yeah, I think the Hydras are looking really consistent this season. I think they've got a lot to offer, and I think they're going to be the ones that are pushing the teams like the Colts and the Huskies very, very close. So I think the Hydras also continue their unbeaten run, go 4-0. Now we move on to two winless teams, as far as I know. The Unicorns taking on the Owls. As I say, I don't have the details about the Unicorns and the Penguins game, so maybe the Unicorns have a win on their record. But as far as I know, they do not. Toucan. Unicorns, Owls, who gets the win?
As far as I know, I think this is the first week that the Owls don't have to forfeit, because I think one of their starters actually had a temporary ban from league play. But I think that's going to be over this week. So if that is over, I'm not sure. I haven't seen the Owls play. I think the Unicorns definitely could take it, and I think if there's going to be a forfeit from the Owls, the Unicorns definitely take it.
Absolutely, Comus. What do you think?
I think the Unicorns are going to take it. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Yeah,
I don't really watch Star League or Elite League that much.
we should be watching Elite League. They are the best of us. Unicorns. Yeah, I think I'm going with the forfeit theory. And Owls haven't really had much game time, as Toucan's just mentioned. They've had a player out, so it's going to take time for them to get on a level where maybe they can push some of these other teams. I think the Unicorns should be able to take this and get their potentially first win of the season. I understand that the Unicorns and Penguins will be decided at a later date. So as far as I know, these are the teams. These are the teams' records for now. And the final game is a very, very interesting one between the Eagles and the Dragons. Both teams are 2-1 on the season. Eagles, obviously, our champions of Elite League last season. Toucan, do you think they continue their good form?
If the rumors are true about Hawkish bringing in a 2K player, I think the Dragons could win this. But you have to realize that the Eagles do have chemistry. I think they did play together in college, so they are definitely a very good roster, and I think they could even take down a 2K player. So I'm going to have to give it to the Eagles, but it's going to be close if Hawkish can get this player in.
I think it will. Comus, what do you think?
I agree with Toucan. If Hawkish can pull in the 2K player, maybe they have a slight chance, but I'm gonna still go with the champions that are the Eagles.
Yeah, I find it very difficult to go against the Eagles if I'm honest. I know that it's very likely that Hawkish is able to bring in this player. However, we know in this league and especially at this level in doubles, sometimes it is not solo skill that wins you the game. It is how well you know your teammates. It is how well you gel with those guys and how much chemistry you have. So for me, I think the Eagles are gonna have the most chemistry. Sky and CBK played together for a long time. They played together in last season. They went undefeated last season. I mean, that has to say something. So I think the Eagles are going to be able to take this, but it will be very, very interesting if the Dragons do bring in this player to see what is going on with their new player and how he looks and how he fits in with the team. So that will be very interesting to see. We are slightly over. I hope people don't mind. But we are finished with the predictions, and that means we are finished with the show. Comus, do you have anything right at the end that you would like to say to our lovely viewers?
Thank you for watching. Make sure you check out our Discord channel.
Check out the Discord, absolutely. Toucan, anything you want to sign off with?
Nothing new from me. Thank you for having me, Rhino.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you both. Best of luck this weekend with your respective teams. Maybe we will even see the two of you facing off in the playoffs come the end of the season. But for now, it has been absolutely lovely to speak to all of you, the FDL community, tonight. Thank you for tuning in to FDL Central. As you well know, we are here every single Wednesday at 6 p.m. EST. We will be back next week with another show running down week 4 of the FDL. Stay tuned. We love you loads. See you very, very soon.